Welcome to the Get Unbusy podcast. I'm your host, Kate Philpott, and this podcast is all about throwing your busy work out the window. You deserve to stay locked in on the parts of your business that light a fire under your hoo-ha, all right? The passion-driven freedom lifestyle, not being glued to your laptop every waking minute of the day. It's time to build a business that works for you, not one that works you into the ground. So, let's get unbusy, shall we? Hello, welcome back to the Get Unbusy podcast. Oh baby, do we have a good one for you today? I'm actually just going to dive straight in, okay? So I want to talk to you today about the unexpected situation that starts happening when you create more time. And it's a bit of a confrontational one. This is going to be one where I might say something that makes you want to slap me in the face, and that is so fair. Good thing this is not a live podcast recording, but I promise I'm delivering this with love. This is something that I really wish I had heard earlier, especially when I started reclaiming time, streamlining my tasks, automating things, because unfortunately I actually went through this and I was like, why the hell is this a thing? Why is this something that actually happens? And essentially, what happens when you finally get to a point, so let's say before you were working, let's say full-time hours, a 40-hour week, and then you reclaim time through creating systems, writing SOPs, automating tasks, having templates and template banks. You've got all of this extra time now, right? What can happen is a big old bunch of self-sabotage, because there's a very good reason for this, and I'll go deeper into it in a little bit, but you can no longer use I don't have time as an excuse for anything. You can't just be like, oh, sorry, I just don't have time to do this massive thing that would easily 10x my income. You're in the real world, you're looking at the logical, you're looking at what's the surface level reason that I can't do it? Oh, I don't have time. It's very easy to say I don't have time. But the subconscious reason for you doing that could be, oh shit, I don't think I'm ready for that level of responsibility. And therefore, you conveniently don't have time to do that incredible thing and take advantage of that amazing opportunity for growth. So, like I said, I'll go deeper into this, but here's why this is probably one of the most important podcast episodes I've ever done. Because you could easily be 5 or 10 years into your business journey and still be confused as to why you haven't seen the growth or results you've wanted this whole time. And you can be just as busy, even if you've technically freed up all of this time, automated loads of tasks, built out SOPs and whatnot. You can be just as busy as you were at the beginning. And then you're like, why am I still so busy? I've been working on streamlining my tasks. I've got SOPs that make me do things faster. What you're not seeing is those little pockets of time that you allow to just trickle away because you see that you gave, let's say, an hour for a particular task, and you might be getting it done within 30 minutes, even though it usually takes you an hour, but now it takes 30 minutes because you've got a system for it. And then you just allow the lull and you allow yourself to just hop over to a different tab and what's the weather in Barcelona right now? And I wonder what flights are like to Sydney right now. Oh, my friend is in Bali. I wonder what the temperature is there. Oh, now suddenly I'm walking around the streets of Bali to see what the streets look like. I'm laughing because it happens to all of us. Let's be honest, it happens to all of us. And these aren't things that, a lot of the time, these are not things that you actually care about in that moment. You might be like, yeah, it's almost time for me to plan a trip, but maybe it's not time for you to plan a trip at like 10:30 a.m. on one of your most impactful work days where you have your highest energy. Do you see what I'm saying here? I feel like I'm giving out to you. I promise this is coming to you with love, and it's coming to you from a place of like, please don't do this because I did it and it slowed me down for so long. But this is another reason why it's always important to be ruthless with your tasks, even when you have streamlined, even when you have freed up time. Because when you've freed up time, I mean, let's be honest, as a business owner, there's always stuff to do. There's never going to be a time where you've finished everything. because you could always create another Instagram reel. You could always send another email. You could always, post on your stories that one more time. You could always reach out to another lead or whatever. There's always going to be another thing you could do. So if you allowed that to control you, you will literally never have free time ever. And that's not the vibe. So even if you have reclaimed a fair bit of time, I want you to still be very ruthless with your tasks that you allow into your personal calendar. Do you really need to do that task today? Is it really that important, or is it a distraction from what's actually important? Or is it a distraction from creating the spacious, flexible business you've wanted all along? And I know some of you will hear this and think, oh crap, I definitely do that. I definitely do that. As soon as I have more time, I kind of don't even feel like I've got more time because I fill it with all this stuff. So, oh no, I have a problem. What do you do when you have a problem? You have to solve it. You have to do all this journaling on it, or subconscious healing on it, or hire a coach to overcome it. And while I'm a big fan of subconscious work, I'm a big fan of journaling, I'm a big fan of investing in coaching and having someone hold you to a higher standard, I still, again, I'm going to go deeper, and I want you to look at, is that even just self-sabotage? There's a time and place for everything, right? Those things are great, but are you still using those as a crutch to not do the thing that's going to actually just propel you to your next level? Because even that work takes time. And it takes intention and energy. And it might be also taking you away from that one most important task to do this week. So I know that productivity is so personal to everyone. And I do like using examples because it can kind of get you realizing what I'm actually saying. So instead of me just saying most important task of the week, I'm going to bring my most important task of the week. Now, it is done at this stage because today is Friday as I'm recording this. But my most important task of the week was a part of me optimizing my onboarding for WorkSmart Academy. So what I wanted to do was basically incorporate a bingo card. So for new members, they come in and there's honestly, side note, there's 5 things that when new members join, if they do those 5 things within their first 7 days, they honestly get the best results of all members. Those are the people who are coming in and sharing wins and screaming the house down about the membership because they've actually applied themselves in this way. And there's certain psychological factors that are at play here, but it's really interesting. But anyway, I wanted to create this bingo card that they could download, create a little intro video explaining how to play this bingo and what they need to do and why they need to do it and why it's important. And then also have a little form that they could submit their completed bingo card, right? So this is just part of a bigger project of improving the onboarding process for WorkSmart Academy. Obviously I want to build out the email sequence to be a 30-day thing. I want to film a membership portal walkthrough. I want to refilm the welcome video. There's a couple of little things I want to do. Side note, zooming out more, the reason this is part of my most important thing is because, first of all, the membership is the most important thing for me. That is the place. That is the place to be. And it feels like I'm doing people a disservice if they're not in there. Anyone who's not in there and struggling with productivity, who's an online coach, I'm it's up to me to show you how bloody great it is. And part of your success as a member is experiencing that next level onboarding because you actually understand what's going on, you understand how to make the most of it. That's a huge piece. So this is why it's really important for me to build out that onboarding process. This is obviously going to move the needle for me, but it also is a leveraged action. It's something that it's, kind of a one and done. It's a system because it onboards my clients for me as I'm going and moving on with other content for the membership, recording these podcasts for you. I'm doing other things, right? So of course, this was going to be super important for me to do. Now, I could easily be yeah, I've got loads of other things to do this week. I want to post 3 different short form videos. I have to publish this masterclass in the membership portal. I'm editing down some streamlined coach trainings. I'm creating branding for my next free masterclass. I have to complete an intake form for a bundle I'm taking part of very soon. There's a lot of stuff. I also have to pack for Poland because I'm going to Poland literally tomorrow. And it kind of just snuck up on me there. I don't know how that came around so fast. But anyway, here we are. So the most important thing for me in my business right now, while all of those other tasks that I mentioned are important, this is the one that's the most important. And honestly, I shouldn't even bother thinking about those other tasks until the bingo card situation is done and published in the portal. That allows me to have a bit more peace that when new members join the membership, they're going to be met with this opportunity. And also there is a prize, a 1-to-1 prize if you complete those 5 action steps within your first 7 days. But I know that those people who join the membership are going through that process without me having to hold their hand through it. And this is why it's so important to be clear on the most important task. It's currently done and live in the membership portal. Now, I could be like, oh, look at me. I've streamlined so many of my tasks. I've automated so much of the back end. But then at the same time, I could allow all these other tasks, which are really just noise, to distract me from the fact that that onboarding piece is the most important thing I need to do this week. And if I get distracted in that way and I do all the other things, I'm still pushing off the most important thing that's the most leveraged and that will move the needle the most. And therefore, have you really had a productive week? Like, this is something I brought up in the membership recently. I was like, if you've done loads of stuff this week, but you've avoided the most important thing, have you still had a productive week? If I'm saying, listen, there's one task that you can do this week that will make the entire week a success and will make your life easier moving forward, and you're like, cool, but I'm going to not do that and I'm going to do all these other things that aren't leveraged and that don't move the needle as much, how can that not be you self-sabotaging? How can that not be you trying to distract yourself? And I know this is confronting, but it is important, really important actually. Like, as a CEO, you've got to be an action baddie, especially if you don't have a team yet, because that means this entire business is resting on one person's shoulders, and that person is you. So those shoulders better be strong and solid. Now, that's not to say you should start stressing about the weight of that, but it just means you are the only one who's got to be, and who even can be, locked in on the one most important needle-moving leverage project for you right now. Nobody else can even do it. So here's a question for you, and I'd be very interested to know if this brings anything up for you. Did you set a goal at the start of this year? Yes or no? And I mean, like, one most important goal, like, this is the one thing that if I achieve this goal, my entire life will be improved as a result. Okay, so if yes, now we're a few months into the year, so are you actively working on that? Or are you working on something completely different? Or worse, are you working on multiple things, but not that? Not because the original goal isn't important anymore, but because it's easier to split your focus across multiple things and claim that you, I'm doing finger quotes here, don't have time to achieve X, Y, or Z, than it is to stay locked in and focused on the one thing that will put you light years ahead. This is something I'm now calling my Work Smart Academy members, by the way, action baddies, because you're seeing where you've slowed yourself down and you're going, yeah, okay, I'm not doing that. Not doing that anymore, that's a bit sad. And you get yourself back on track fast. That's an action baddie. So bringing it into a little anecdote, because like I said, I have experienced this before. I have done this myself. So this is how 8 priorities last year turned into 1. So last year I had the following on the go. I had 2 memberships. Yes, 2. I had a remote job, which took about 15-ish hours of my time each week. I was launching my group program, Streamlined Coach, for the first time. I was hosting a bundle. I actually hosted 2 bundles last year, but I'm kind of specifically talking around like summertime. I was bringing my focus back to YouTube, and I wanted that to be my main thing. And then also I was still posting like every day, or at least most days, on Instagram. Oh, it just like hurts my heart to hear that kind of list now of like things that are the quote unquote most important thing. Let's be honest, like all of these things seemed important. None of them were so obviously not important. And this is why, as business owners, we can get ourselves really scattered and scrambled. And we're like, how the hell am I meant to pick one thing? Because none of these are not important. This is me last year. Like, of course, I'd love one-to-one clients. Of course, I want a mini membership where it's literally $7 a month and a no-brainer to join. Of course, I want to blow up on YouTube. Of course, I want to grow my email list by hosting a bundle. Of course, I want to launch this group program and have it like a scalable, repeatable thing. Of course, I want to, what were the other ones? Of course, I want to have a higher ticket membership so that the people who are in there, like, I'm actually getting recurring income that adds up to something more livable rather than just the $7 a month membership. And then, of course, I'm going to post on Instagram because you can't just not post on Instagram. And then, of course, I'm going to work my remote job because otherwise I'm going to be fired and then have a massive income dip. So all of these, apart from the remote job one, linked to the one goal of growing my business, right? And as you can imagine, that made my to-do list super long. But how? Like, how did I really want to move forward? Now, I speak about this in the roadmap in Work Smart Academy, but what I did was I ended up mapping out a 5-year plan of 3 different routes I could take, where each different route was me focusing and going all in on like one of those options, right? So I mapped it out with like the income potential of each, the impact potential of each, what I wanted to do most, pros and cons of all of them, the time commitments to all of them. And it was really, really interesting because one of those things rose right to the top. And I'm wondering if you can guess which one it is based on my actions now. But I'll tell you, if you guessed the membership route, then you will be correct. And that's exactly why I pour my heart and soul into Work Smart Academy. I'm not just building a membership here, I'm guiding my members through a new identity and new routines that support them in actually feeling on top of their shit. and it's in a way that also allows me to express myself creatively, and it's just fulfilling from every angle, every possible angle. And now every single week, my most important task of the week is always related to the membership. Like I said earlier, the onboarding is my most important thing this week, the bingo thing. So whether it is building out like a certain piece of content or building out the onboarding process more thoroughly or adding sections in the portal to help members implement or, whatever it is, it's always membership related. My most important task is always membership related. So that means any week I have then, any work week, if I really don't have much time and I just have like a 2-hour section in the middle of the week where I can work on my business, you better believe I'll be working on the membership because everything else is just noise. Or if I just choose, I'm going to work 2 hours this week on my business because I've created a business that is more streamlined and it is more automated and things aren't going to fall apart if I'm not showing up every single second of every day. I actually get to allow myself to do that. But you can see why being ruthless with your tasks is also really, really important. And that never gets not important because you're always going to put something into your business, I'm sure. Obviously, go ahead and take a holiday here and there. That is totally all good. You're always going to pour something into your business. So just make sure that one thing, if it is just a one thing, is really intentional. And then you get to be the one who says, you know what, actually, yeah, I do have time. I do have time to meet my friend for coffee. I do have time to go to the gym 4 times this week. I do have time to write the book that I've wanted to write, or start teaching myself piano, or pour loads of intention into my Spanish learning practice. I actually have the time. And if people start inviting me to things, I actually can go. And I use these very simple examples because these are the real examples. This is like a real world week for you. Are you living your days where you're like, no, I don't have time to meet you for a 1-hour coffee? Especially if you have streamlined tasks. I'm like, why don't you have time? Do you really not have time? Or do you just not trust yourself with having, quote unquote, too much time on your hands? But when you do have too much time on your hands. What you do with it is incredibly telling about what identity you're in. Are you in a struggle bitch identity where you believe that you have to work hard? Do you rest but then feel guilty that you should be working? Do you go work out? Do you indulge in the passion projects? Do you allow your intuition to guide you through that free time and just do whatever feels like a hell yes on the day? Or are you like, yeah, I'm streamlining stuff, Kate, but I don't seem to have any free time yet? Maybe that's because you're subconsciously filling that time with more stuff. Because on some level, you don't believe that you deserve time off. And if you're kind of rolling your eyes and going, yeah, that's a bit woo-woo. No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Like, maybe it's a situation where because you're not at your goal yet, you think you have to fill your time with more stuff. Maybe because there's more to do. And like I said, spoiler alert, there will always be more to do no matter what level you're at. Maybe it's deeper, and maybe it's because of some childhood experience where you internalized a belief of unworthiness or a belief that you have to work hard for success. Always. Now, I don't just want to rant at you. I obviously want to give you a little actionable step forward. So, with that said, the practical takeaway I want you to action this week, moving into next week, is for next week, I want you to plan and work a 20-hour week, or, take however many hours you usually work and like cut it in half. Because what happens then is you're going to have to get real clear about what's actually important for you to do. And there's going to be a lot of things that will just get shoved to the side. And you will go, oh, do you know what? Actually, if I'm only working 20 hours a week, that thing is really not that important. Do I really have to email 3 to 5 times a week? Maybe 1 or 2 is okay, Oh, I mean, maybe I would set up a little long-term nurture sequence like my Spice 52 sequence. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. DM me if you want more info on that, because that's like literally a 52-week email sequence where your audience is getting nurtured on autopilot. It's like the sexiest email sequence I've ever built out. But anyway, I want you to go, okay, if I'm working 20 hours next week, that's 4 hours over a 5-day week, right? Do not work outside those 4 hours. I'm like banging my hand on the table here. I'm getting really passionate. Do your best, even if it feels like, oh, I don't know. Or maybe you're already working 20 hours a week and you have a part-time job that's another 20 hours. So then in your business, work 10. This is what I'm saying. I want you to really push yourself to be able to work less hours in a week and just see how it goes. If you're at a stage where it's like, okay, hell no, I need, like, everything fell apart. Like, at least that shows you exactly what needs to be streamlined and systemized and automated. The kinds of businesses that we have as online coaches, they really shouldn't be falling apart if we take a week where we're a little less time heavy. Unless it's literally like, I'm not saying if you have 20 hours of calls next week and you only show up to 10, that's obviously not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, we tend to work way more hours than we actually should or even actually want to, just because it's the norm, just because it's normal to work an 8 to 9 hour workday every day from Monday to Friday. So I want you to really stretch yourself. Can you work like half of the hours you usually work? And if you do, you're gonna have to be so much more intentional with the hours you do work. And then when you don't work outside of that, this is not an invitation to be like, I should really be working right now. I should be working. No, go live your life. Go get that coffee with your friend. You've probably been ignoring her messages for 4 months because you're so busy, because you won't allow yourself to not be busy. Woohoo! Bringing the spice today. Like, seriously. So challenge yourself to this and let me know how it goes, because I want to know. So final takeaway. When you finally create more time in your business, what you do with that space really reveals whether you're truly operating from your CEO badass identity or you're still self-sabotaging under the illusion of being busy. Because it feels good to be busy, because it makes you feel important. Should I drop the mic? Maybe. Now, obviously, I've mentioned Work Smart Academy throughout this episode, and like I said, it would absolutely be a disservice if I did not invite you into that space. This is the productivity membership for online coaches who want to get their shit together. Basically, the membership is designed to make you more on in your on time and more off in your off time. So go ahead and DM me WorkSmart on Instagram, all one word, WORKSMART, one word, and I'll send you the details about WorkSmart Academy. Obviously, feel free to ask any questions. I'm here to answer, and have a fantastic week yourself. Can't wait to hear the takeaways that you've had from this conversation and how you get on with that little 20-hour or slashing your hours in half little task. I'm really interested to see how that goes. So good luck. Let me know on Instagram at moretolifekate, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye. All right, gorgeous. That's a wrap on today's episode of the Get Unbusy podcast. If you got some juicy golden nuggets from this episode, I want to hear about it. So take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at moretolifekate, because your girl wants to know. And remember, you're an absolute powerhouse. You can create the life you've been dreaming of, and I can't wait to see you pop off. Chat to you soon. Bye.